Picture this. You finally get that huge win you've been working so hard for. Maybe it's a massive promotion, a brilliant project you pulled off, or just a really public victory. You're absolutely thrilled. But then, almost overnight, you feel this visceral shift. A close friend, a trusted mentor, maybe even your boss. They suddenly turn cold. They pull away, they get distant, maybe they even start throwing these little passive-aggressive comments your way.
It's an incredibly confusing and deeply isolating pain, isn't it? You did exactly what you were supposed to do. You put in the hours, you succeeded, and yet, instead of applause from the people you trusted most, you're being punished for it. You're left feeling like you somehow did something wrong. So why did your victory make them so uncomfortable? Well, because success doesn't just attract admiration. It can actually threaten someone's core identity. Robert Greene famously captured this phenomenon with Law 1, never outshine the master. Now, we're not talking about some Machiavellian trick to manipulate people here. This is a chilling, profound observation of the human ego. We need to figure out why exactly does another person's success feel like a literal attack. Part 1. A party turned tragedy. To really understand this, we have to look at one of history's most shocking betrayals. Meet Nicolas Fouquet, the incredibly brilliant finance minister for King Louis XIV. In August of 1661, Fouquet threw what was arguably the most magnificent celebration in French history at his spectacular new chateau. The food, the fireworks, the most brilliant minds of the era all gathered together. It was an absolute triumph. And yet, mere weeks later, in September, the king had his own finance minister arrested. By December 1664, Fouquet was sentenced to life in prison.
So why? The guy didn't steal from the king. He literally threw the party for the king. But Fouquet made a fatal psychological miscalculation. His true crime wasn't building a beautiful palace. His crime was making King Louis feel dangerously ordinary. Fouquet's undeniable brilliance cast a dark shadow directly onto the king's fragile self-worth.
Part 2. The science of sabotage. What happened to Fouquet, and what happened to you, is driven by a psychological concept called upward social comparison. When we're exposed to someone who appears superior in some way, someone who just scored a big promotion or, threw a better party, it can trigger a profound self-evaluation threat. Psychologists have found this literally causes emotional and attentional disturbances. So when your mentor or your boss saw your sudden success, their brain was instantly forced into this upward comparison, without them even consciously realizing it. Your win felt like a blinding, threatening spotlight exposing their own perceived inadequacies. And this threat? It creates a very predictable anatomy of sabotage. See, people pay incredibly close attention to the trajectory of their peers. If you start rising faster than a coworker, even if technically you're still below them in rank, you suddenly represent an anticipated future status threat. You're a missile locked onto their position. This perceived threat triggers intense, visceral envy, and that envy is the catalyst for proactive undermining. They pull away, they ice you out, or they subtly sabotage you, all to neutralize the future threat that you represent. Now, this brings us to a massive perspective shift for you, the main character of your own story. Those people who turned cold when you succeeded, they rarely view themselves as evil masterminds plotting your downfall. They are just fragile humans. When they undermined you, they aren't just trying to protect their power or hold on to a job title. They are frantically trying to protect how they see themselves. They are defending their core identity from the sharp pain of upward social comparison.
Part 3. Beyond the pages.
This whole dynamic exposes a fascinating, deep divide in how people lead. Power and status inherently create psychological distance. Insecure leaders, they handle this distance by demanding absolute deference. They suppress rising talent because their egos simply cannot survive that self-evaluation threat. But secure leaders do the exact opposite. They use their status to actively develop talent, building mutual agency and trust. So listen to me. If your boss or your friend punished you for your success, it was a profound reflection of their own deep insecurity. It had absolutely nothing to do with a flaw in your competence.
But navigating this reality does require immense emotional intelligence. Human hierarchies operate on this universal warmth-competence trade-off. See, high-status individuals are almost always seen as highly competent, but often at the cost of being perceived as cold. To survive in a world filled with fragile egos, highly successful people intuitively learn to downplay their brilliance just a little bit to appear warmer and more approachable. It's not about being fake or manipulative. It's about deeply understanding the unspoken stereotypes that drive human behavior. It's about learning how to soften the glare of your success so it warms the people around you rather than blinding them.
So let's go back to that question. Why does your success make some people so uncomfortable? Because it forces them to face themselves. Knowing this, your goal moving forward isn't to play Machiavellian games or shrink yourself down. Your goal is just awareness. Recognize when someone's ego feels threatened. Read the room, and use your emotional intelligence to balance your incredible competence with genuine human warmth. But whatever you do, never ever hide your gifts just to keep someone else comfortable in the dark. Now that you truly understand the hidden psychology of the ego, how are you going to choose to shine tomorrow?